I'm Roger for Moonshine Designs Nursery, and normally I would shoot this type of video out in one of our greenhouses, but it's very cold, it's very windy. Although it is warm in the greenhouse, that wind makes the plastic rattle and would make a bunch of ambient noise, so I'm doing it in my shop. We're going to stratify lavender seed. I'm going to take you through step by step and explain it. So what is stratification? Stratification in terms of horticulture and what we do here with growing things is a treatment where, in this case, it's going to be what they call a cold wet stratification treatment. In nature, and we're going to use lavender for an example because that's what we're going to be working with here. The seeds drop late in the season and they lay in the ground. They don't just start germinating and come up. They go through a winter period where the weather's cold and wet, and then that breaks the dormancy period inside those seeds, and then in the spring when the weather warms up and the seeds sprout and they come up. This holds true for all kinds of trees and shrubs, with very few exceptions. On trees and shrubs, seeds will need to have a stratification period. In some cases, and I'm getting off track here a little bit, but I'm going to explain this, with viburnums, they need a warm and a cold. So the first stratification period for them would be warm. The seeds will drop in the early summer. They'll lay in the ground and they'll be very warm. Then come winter, it gets cold. They're cold and wet. This satisfies those two dormancy periods. Then in the spring, when the weather warms up, the seeds come up. So we're going to get into the lavender seed stratification. And there's different types of lavender seed you can buy. If you happen to buy Apex Prime seed, which is a treatment where you don't need to do the stratification process, you just plant them and go. Whether or not you're going to be able to get those without being a commercial grower is, I don't know. But most lavender seed, especially if you saved it yourself, will require this cold stratification period. So what is this going to be consisting of? This will be consisting of placing your seed with some medium, and I'm going to get into what we're going to use here. I'm going to do a little demonstration on how to do it in your refrigerator. Not the freezer, but in the back of your refrigerator. Right now it is the week before Christmas, December. I am going to stratify some seed today in a Ziploc bag in a refrigerator to demonstrate how this works. Normally when we do seed stratification for lavender, we pre-sow the seed into flats and they're put into a cold unheated greenhouse. We either sow them into, like this is a 512 cell tray. This is a 288 cell tray. This is how we normally do it. It's then covered with a very light covering of vermiculite, covered with plastic. They're actually stacked up, put in an unheated greenhouse, and we don't deal with them until February. I'm going to do some today a little bit different. I have an ounce of Vera lavender seed that I'm going to stratify in this bag. We won't be able to use our seeder with it because they will now be wet, but we can broadcast seed those into larger cell trays, and this setup will be for our crop that we will have available in May. So these seeds that I'm stratifying now, late December, we will not germinate in the greenhouse until around the first part of March. Late February, early March is when we'll take them out. So I'm going to show you the steps here and how to do it. Maybe you've only got a small packet, maybe you've got quite a few. I've got an entire ounce here I'm going to do, and you won't have that many unless you're going to try to start a lavender farm. I'll get a close-up here and I'll show you the materials you need and how to do it. Okay, so what are you going to need for this? Obviously, you're going to need your lavender seed, which I have right here. You'll need a Ziploc. Doesn't have to be Ziploc brand, but you'll need a freezer bag. This happens to be a quart size. You'll need some water. Doesn't have to be in a beaker. And you'll need what they call horticultural vermiculite. See here, you can buy this at different lawn and garden stores, home centers. They have a garden department, that type of thing. We get this in big 4 cubic feet bags. And no, it does not contain asbestos. Some people think vermiculite contains asbestos. Horticultural vermiculite does not contain asbestos. So what you will need to do, Ziploc bag, open it up. you're just doing a packet of seeds, you'll only need a few tablespoons of vermiculite. I'm doing a whole ounce, so we're going to have a little bit more than that. Put some in your bag here. Yeah, I'll give it a little more. There we go. So we have this much vermiculite. Of course, this is dry. Water. Now what you want is you want this moist, but not soaking wet. So you're going to add some water to this. Close up that bag. Mix it up like this. So when you get done mixing, you'll see that you have uniformly damp vermiculite. There's no big puddle of water in there or anything. What you're going to do now, open that bag back up. Well, it's quite the package here. Add your seed. Close that bag back up and mix everything together real well. I'm going to get a little bit of the air out of that. Not all of it, just some out, so it doesn't take up quite so much space in the refrigerator. Now I'll take this bag, which now looks like this. You can see the lavender seed or the black dots in there. And I will put this in the back of the refrigerator for a minimum of 6 weeks. So that's all there is to it. How to stratify lavender seed. Put this in the back of the refrigerator, not the freezer, put it in the back of the refrigerator, or in my case, I'm going to put it behind my beer drawer out here in the shop. And come late March, or I should say late February, early March, I'll be taking this out and planting them. Now, something you will want to do is periodically take a look at the bag. Take it out and take a look at it. If you see that those seeds are starting to sprout, and this happens once in a while, but not all that often, then you'll need to take them out and plant them. But otherwise, these are going to go in the refrigerator. We'll take them out late February, early March. They'll get sown on probably open flat, since I did it this way with these, thinly. Then covered with a very thin layer of this same horticultural vermiculite, placed on a heated bed where the soil temperature will be between 70 and 74 degrees Fahrenheit, and they should germinate in 5 to 7 days. And from that point on, and I'll get a little bit here and a little bit of that aftercare, and I'll do another video here in the future. Hopefully I'll have time. When you go to water these after they come up, do not overwater. And it's actually better to water from the bottom if you can. We have a system where I can mist them, or we can capillary water them from the bottom. Get the media wet, let it drain, then keep an eye on it. You don't want the seedlings to dry out, but you do not want to keep that seed medium in there where you have these sprouting wet, or they will rot. Lavender does not like wet feet, and we have to stress this constantly with our customers who buy lavender. Do not overwater lavender. It'll be a catastrophe. The first thing you notice is the leaves will start to turn purple. Then pretty soon they just fall over and they're done. So something to keep in mind in the future there, do not overwater the lavender. Otherwise, that's all there is to it, to stratifying lavender seed. And this same process holds true with most shrub seeds. Let's say you wanted to do some rugosa roses, or maybe some dogwoods you save seeds off of, even acorns off an oak tree. It's the same process. So with that said, I'm Roger, Moonshine Designs Nursery, and not in the greenhouse, but in the shop. And if you happen to be curious about this shop, I do have another YouTube channel. It's called Roger's Shop. Want to check that out if you're into woodworking or laser engraving, or, well, we do all kinds of things on there. Otherwise, again, I'm Roger from Moonshine Designs Nursery. Thanks for watching.